Baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray.
How the 1994 MLB strike changed baseball. How did the 1994 to 1995 baseball strike change MLB history? Baseball was, and still is, America's pastime. It is one of the most beloved sports in the world. But in 1994, things would change, and drastically. There was a huge strike, and baseball was in jeopardy. Prior to the strike, Major League Baseball teams proposed a salary cap to their players. On January 18, 1994, owners approved a new revenue-sharing plan, which would need the players' approval. This was tied into the salary cap. There was a dispute between Bud Selig and Donald Fair. This was about free agents. And there was a $280 million theft by Bud Selig and another man named Jerry Reinsdorf. The union basically doesn't trust the ownership because collusion was a $280 million theft by Bud Selig and Jerry Reinsdorf of that money from the players. I mean, they rigged the signing of free agents. They got caught. They paid $280 million to the players. And I think that's polluted labor relations in baseball ever since it happened. I think it's the reason Fair has no trust in Selig. On August 11th, the last game was played, and the rest of the regular season, the postseason, and the World Series were canceled due to the strike. This is the first time that a World Series will be canceled in 90 years. Something interesting about the World Series was that it had survived the 2 world wars in the past, but it couldn't survive the players' strike of 1994. MLB became the first sport to lose its entirety of the postseason due to a dispute. After the strike had officially started, many records were stopped. These include the Montreal Expos having a historic record. Carlos Baerga would have had a record-breaking streak of 2 years at the time, with 20 home runs, 200 hits, and 100 RBIs by a second baseman. Ken Griffey Jr. leading the league with 40 home runs at the time, with 47 games still left in the season. Tony Gwynn's chance to have 400 batting average. Matt Williams potentially surpassing the home run record, which was 61 at the time. Michael Jordan, who could have had a chance to play at the major league level but couldn't. And Hall of Fame careers ending such as Rich Gossage's. Don Mattingly also had a chance to play in the postseason for the first time in his career, but that was stopped by the strike. This video I am about to show you was recorded around the time of the strike, and I think it perfectly illustrates this.
And some players are vying for their place in history. The specter of a strike hovers over baseball's magic kingdom. And there's an irony at work here. Roger Maris may have his 61-61 home run record saved by a season that will be scarred with asterisks if baseball is struck in a dozen days. Matt Williams has already broken the Giants' home run record for third baseman, 38. It was his own record anyway, and he set it last year. He's on a pace to break the franchise record of 52 home runs set by Willie Mays in 1965. But Williams is also on a pace to challenge Roger Maris. Williams has been a model of consistency this season, and all he would have to do is maintain his pace down the stretch to tie or break the Maris record, unless there is a strike. In Houston, Jeff Bagwell currently leads the league in RBIs. He's second in home runs and second in batting average. Bagwell also happens to lead the league in runs scored. No player in the history of the Astros franchise, not Rusty Staub, not Bob Watson, not even the toy cannon Jimmy Wynn, has ever led the league in any Triple Crown category. But Bagwell's on a pace to do just that, unless there is a strike. Only Tony Gwynn has a higher batting average than Bagwell. Gwynn, who's a lock to hit over 300 for his 12th consecutive season, is having the best year of his career. And Gwynn is on a pace to join some rather exclusive company for having the highest batting average in Major League Baseball over the past 53 years, or since Ted Williams last hit over 400, unless there is a strike. And Greg Maddux, one of just 5 pitchers in history to win consecutive Cy Young Awards, has the inside track on becoming the first to three-peat. Over the past 6 seasons, Maddux has led all pitchers in the majors in wins, games started, and innings pitched. And his ERA this season is more than a run better than any other starter in the bigs, and he's on a pace to become the first pitcher since Dwight Gooden and John Tudor 9 years ago to finish the season with an ERA of under 2. Maddox's numbers will certainly stand up, but along with them, an all-too-familiar asterisk, if there is a strike.
It is now official. No more regular season, no extended version of the playoffs.
On January 1st, 1995, 5 bills with the intention of stopping the strike were introduced into Congress. However, the bills made no notable progress in stopping the strike. In the AL, the division leaders were as follows: the Yankees, the White Sox, and the Rangers. In the NL, the division leaders were the Expos, the Reds, and the Dodgers. But there's one team there that I think needs to be focused on especially, the Montreal Expos. They had a record of 74-40 at the time. With that record, they were favorites to win the World Series in the National League. Their record was also the best in all of baseball. As an Expos fan, I remember that trade, said the future Braves general manager Alex Anthopoulos, who was 17 years old at the time. 1994, other than the strike, was such a magical year for the Expos. Then they dismantled the club. The spring of 1995 was a very lonely time for baseball fans. The next few videos showcase some fans being interviewed on what they think of the strike.
And finally, for now, baseball fans don't need to be reminded, but the Major League strike deadline is Friday.
Well, we've been hearing from the owners and the players a lot, so we thought it would be nice to hear from the folks that really count.
It would be pretty boring without baseball in the summer. It just ruins the game when they're striking.
I'm mad at both the players and the owners.
It'll take a lot away from baseball.
Would you play for free?
Yeah. I don't want the players to go on strike. I think the answer is it's to keep them on playing. I wish they'd find an agreement and keep on playing.
Should they play for free?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's just a game. It doesn't matter how much money you get.
There it is. There you go.
The players shouldn't have a salary cap, and the owners want them to because the owners don't want them to have as much money. I think they should just play and not worry about money.
They get paid all that money. They really don't need any more money. And the owners, they say they don't make enough money. But the question is, what is enough money?
I have to go up to New York, and I was going to go to a game, and now if I get up there and there's not going to be no games, that's not fair to the fans at all.
Ken Griffey Jr., Frank Thomas, and Matt Williams have a real good shot for the home run title this year, but because of the strike, it's going to go down the drain.
There's something about the business of baseball that takes out the pleasure of baseball.
Right, exactly. These are the people who should be in charge of the negotiations.
The point is, they don't need the money, just have fun.
On March 31st, the 7-month, 3-week-long strike would finally come to an end. District Court Judge Sonia Sotomayor introduced the ruling which would stop the strike. As Tom Glavine said in 1995, I don't remember exactly how I found out about Sotomayor's ruling, but I wasn't surprised by it. We have been kind of advised by the Players Association all along that ultimately this thing is going to end up in the court and be decided there. Being in the middle of it, I felt that was the proper ruling. Now, obviously, people on the owner's side would tell you differently, I'm sure. Now, the players had a mission to recapture the hearts of their fans after the strike. Here's some quick footage from the first game of the 1995 season.
We're all dressed up and ready to play ball. The Wizard always does the flip when he takes the field.
Many baseball fans were very happy to see their beloved sport back. So, how did the 1994 to 1995 baseball strike shape MLB history? Just to recap, the 1994 to 1995 MLB strike was an 8.5-month-long drought of baseball. This topic is important in history, especially sports history, because there was no baseball for a very long time, and it was the first time that a World Series had been canceled in 90 years, and also the first time that a postseason had been canceled for a whole season of sports. It was a significant turning point in history because no other event had happened like this before, and this was new for baseball. It was quite literally a once-in-a-lifetime thing, 90 years since the last World Series was canceled. And now, back to the beginning.
It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
I was young, they said I won't be nothing. Now they always say congratulations. Worked so hard, forgot how to vacation.